Only Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile.
We'll give you a free year of service.
Free year?
When you buy a new 5G phone.
New 5G phone?
Enough.
But I'm your hype man. When you purchase an eligible device, you get $25 off every month for 12 months with credits totaling 1 year of free service. Taxes extra for the device and service plan. Online only.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
Businesses that are selling through the roof, like Untuck It, make selling and for shoppers buying simple with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And with Shop Pay, you can boost conversions up to 50%. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Untuck It uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/podcast free. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/podcast free to upgrade your selling today.
Only Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile.
We'll give you a free year of service.
Free year?
When you buy a new 5G phone.
New 5G phone?
Enough.
But I'm your hype man. When you purchase an eligible device, you get $25 off every month for 12 months with credits totaling 1 year of free service. Taxes extra for the device and service plan. Online only.
Doug.
Limu and I always tell you to customize your car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. But now, we want you to feel it. Cue the emu music, Limu.
Save yourself money today. Increase your wealth. Customize and save, we say.
That may have been too much feeling.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Toby.
And welcome to the Whispering Woods podcast. It's still season of the witch, and we're moving into some kind of witch trial-y stuff now. But first of all, we have a review to read.
From Southern Girl 73. Creep Factor. I just happened upon this show by accident. I am so happy I did. I love this mum and son duo. I love the introductions. It is so cool to have that lore to accompany the super creepy story. Don't change a thing. You guys are awesome.
Aw, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by leaving a lovely review like that, or popping over to patreon.com/The Whispering Woods, where for £2.50 you can listen ad-free, £2.50 a month, that is. And £4.50, you can listen to this podcast and our other podcast, Obscurata, ad-free, and that's £4.50 a month. I got completely lost then. I don't know if I've just repeated that. We're also on Apple Premium, where for $4.99 a month, you can listen to both podcasts ad-free. Right. So I've got one long story about the witch, kind of some of the witch trials that I haven't heard of and what happened. So this episode is called The Devil's Servants, and I'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story?
Yes, I am.
In the spring of 1676, Stockholm was gripped by witchcraft hysteria. For 8 years, rumours had swept through Sweden that witches were abducting children and flying with them to a diabolical Sabbath at Blackula, called Blockula in contemporary accounts. Terrified parents huddled with their children at night as stories spread of witches mounting flying goats, broomsticks, and even farm tools to spirit young ones away. According to the law, these witches ferried children to a distant meadow where the devil held court in a great house. There the captives would be exposed to unspeakable abuse and forced to renounce their baptism, sealing a pact with Satan. Such tales were not campfire ghost stories. They were given credence by authorities and fueled a nationwide panic known as Det Stora of Oversendet, the Great Noise, from 1668 to 1676. Now this witch fear had reached the capital's Katarina parish, turning neighbours into accusers and children into key witnesses. Into this cauldron of fear stepped Margereta Matsdotter, a 21-year-old maidservant, better known by the nickname Dufvans Margereta, Margereta of the Dove. She would soon find herself at the centre of one of Sweden's most infamous witch trials, a case that illustrates how easily nightmare and reality can blur in a society haunted by the devil. Dufvans Margereta lived a humble life on Stockholm's southern side, the daughter of a gardener. Yet in the fevered atmosphere of 1676, even a humble maid could attract dangerous suspicion. She had caught the eye of a local tailor who gifted her an expensive silk dress, an act of courtship that should have been innocent. But to her neighbours, this gift seemed inexplicable for a poor servant, unless dark magic was at work. How else could a lowly girl charm such finery out of a suitor? Gossip soon linked Margereta to sorcery. Whispers turned to open accusations when a wave of child testimonies hit the Katarina district. Children began naming adults who they claimed had snatched them away at night to attend the witches' Sabbath in Blackula. In these fantastical accounts, witches flew by night with their victims, sometimes riding on farm animals or even the sleeping bodies of men, to a lush meadow where Satan awaited. There, as the stories went, each witch signed the devil's book in blood and underwent a mock baptism, swearing eternal loyalty to the evil one. A great feast unfolded at a long table with Satan at the head, surrounded by his favourite witches, while the kidnapped children stood sobbing by the door. Such lurid details, repeated by trembling young witnesses, were widely believed. Dufvans Margereta's name soon crossed the lips of these child accusers, marking her as one of the devil's servants. Authorities wasted little time once the witch panic hit Stockholm. In April 1676, a special witchcraft commission arrived to investigate the claims in Katarina parish. Margereta was among the first to be denounced. Several local girls, known as Gavel Boy and the Mira Maids, pointed to her, insisting she had helped an older alleged witch, Agnes Johansdotter, abduct children to Blackula. Astonishingly, even one of Margereta's own peers turned against her. Another maidservant named Margereta Matsdotter, a namesake unrelated by blood, had earlier confessed to witchcraft and had now accused Dufvans Margereta of being her accomplice. This other Margereta, a Finnish immigrant, had turned herself in to authorities after the first witch executions, possibly seeking a suicidal end. She was swiftly condemned and executed in May 1676. With children's testimonies and even an executed witch's word stacked against her, Dufvans Margereta was arrested. Neighbours claimed they had seen her consorting with known sorcerers and playful with the devil's gifts. In the eyes of the fearful community, the young maid with the silk dress had been unmasked as a witch in league with Satan. In a stone chamber beneath Katarina Church, Margereta Madsdotter faced her interrogators. The Witchcraft Commission's judges, priests and city officials pressed her to confess to the unholy crimes she was being accused of. At first, Margereta vehemently protested her innocence, tearfully denying that she had ever harmed a child or trafficked with the devil. But the climate of the trials was merciless. A witch's denial was seen as proof of Satan's hold on her soul. When Margereta would not concede to the charges, the court resorted to torture. Using methods imported from Europe's witch-hunting playbook, something even some Swedish judges viewed with unease, interrogators subjected the young woman to agonizing pain to break her will. Under this duress, Dufvans Margereta's resolve shattered. She confessed, haltingly at first, then in a rush of fantastical detail, to every wicked act the prosecutors suggested. By candlelight, the scribes recorded her forced confession. Margereta admitted that the elder witch Agnes Johansdotter had initiated her into witchcraft, whisking her away to Blackula and teaching her evil arts. She told the court that she herself had carried children to the witch's Sabbath, delivering them into Satan's clutches. As her interrogators pressed for more, Margereta's imagination, or rather the collective imagination of the witch panic, painted a dark tableau. She described devils and Sabbath gatherings in vivid terms, how at Blackula the devil sat in a place of honour at the head of the table, appearing as a man, though he was in truth a dog. In her confession, she even wove herself a bizarre personal fate, claiming that at the Sabbath she was given a demon as a husband. The fiend was called Necken, and she said she had married him in Blackula and born his child in that infernal place. This shocking testimony, wrung out under torture, seemed to confirm every nightmare notion of the witch hunters. Here was a young woman calmingly confessing to a bridal pact with the devil and to helping corrupt the souls of innocent children. It was powerful evidence indeed. Yet the moment the torture ceased, Margereta tried to retract these confessions. Bruised and shaken, she recanted her statements as soon as she was returned to her cell. In a voice hoarse from pain, she told the judges that none of it was true. She had only repeated what had been suggested to her. I remember only what others make me remember. If one had testified against me, I would never have confessed, Margereta pleaded. This poignant protest fell on deaf ears. The court had heard her signed confession of witchcraft, and that was enough. Her attempt to withdraw it was taken not as proof of her innocence, but as evidence of the devil's trickery. In the logic of the witch hunt, Satan was always ready to steal a witch's truthful confession from her lips if given the chance. The judges ignored Margereta's retraction and proceeded toward a verdict. After all, 8 people had already been executed in Stockholm's ongoing witch purge on similar testimony, and the city was clamouring for more witches to be punished. Dufvans Margereta's fate now seemed all but sealed. Margereta Madsdotter, the Dove, was put on trial in the late summer of 1676, alongside 2 other women accused of witchcraft. One was Karin Ambjornsdotter, a hawker's wife. The other was Margereta Remmer, the wife of a city official. Remmer's high status would complicate the proceedings. In the crowded courtroom, child witnesses stood by their lurid claims, pointing at Dufvans Margereta as a kidnapper of children and handmaiden to the devil. The maidservant herself was exhausted and demoralised. She had confessed under torture and then recanted, but any credibility she had was gone. During the trial, Margereta's earlier confession was read back to her in damning detail. Neighbours gave supporting testimony, claiming she had been seen in suspicious circumstances. One witness even swore they had seen Margereta's spirit form at the witch's Sabbath, with children in tow. Margereta, pale and in chains, could only protest weakly that these were lies. Her cries of innocence were drowned out by the steady rhythm of accusations. Behind the scenes, though, the witch panic was reaching a breaking point. Members of the Witchcraft Commission themselves were growing uneasy about the reliability of the child testimonies. The case of Dufvans Margereta had sparked debate. Some officials noted that her confession had been produced by torture, and that the tales told by children were inconsistent. The presiding judges argued among themselves. The commissioner, Urban Hien, a learned physician, and Minister Eric Norris voiced doubts, urging the court to set aside Margereta's death sentence. On the other side, hardliners like Judge Coyett insisted the condemned witches must burn, lest the devil's minions go unpunished. Even Judge Jacob Conander, while suspicious of the child witnesses, pushed for harsh measures. He had earlier supported using torture to force confessions. In the end, the majority of the court still leaned towards severity. They would not risk sparing someone who might be a witch. Margereta Madsdotter was found guilty of witchcraft and sentenced to death in August 1676. So too was Karin, her co-accused. Margaret Remmer, the official's wife, managed to delay her verdict thanks to her husband's passionate defence and the judge's waning confidence in the evidence. But for the low-born maidservant, Margereta, there would be no reprieve. The court ordered that Dufvans Margereta be executed by decapitation, the customary punishment for convicted witches in Sweden. After the executioner's sword fell, her body was to be burned at the stake to purify the crime and prevent any sorcerous relics from remaining. With this grim sentence pronounced, the young woman of 21 was led away in chains to await the day of her death. It's hard to imagine her despair. Not long before, she had been simply a maid, hopeful for marriage. Now she was condemned as an accomplice of Satan. As she languished in her cell in the late summer heat, Margereta would have heard the whispers about what happened to Malin Motsdotter, another accused witch, just a few weeks prior. Malin, an older woman who, like Margereta, refused to confess, had been burned alive at the stake in Stockholm on August the 5th, 1676. She died without screaming, which onlookers perversely took as proof that the devil had numbed her against the flames. Such was the horror now looming over Dufvans' Margereta. She had confessed under torture but retracted, which made her stubborn in the judge's eyes, nearly as stubborn as Malin had been. Margereta's execution was set for the coming weeks, and every passing day must have felt like an eternity as she waited for the guards to summon her to the scaffold. Unbeknownst to Margereta, fate had one last twist in store. September the 11th, 1676 arrived, a day that would decide not only her life, but the course of Sweden's witch panic. On that day, as Margereta sat in prison awaiting execution, the Witchcraft Commission convened a final inquiry. The judges had resolved to re-examine the child witnesses in open court, suspecting that some had been coached in their tales. One by one, the children were asked to repeat their fantastic stories from scratch, instead of just affirming what had been recorded earlier. The result was chaos. Many of the young accusers stumbled, contradicting themselves and each other. Under stern questioning, cracks appeared in the elaborate fiction of Blacula. At last, one 13-year-old boy broke down weeping and admitted that he had lied. Like a dam bursting, this confession set off a chain reaction. Dozens of children, 17 of them, suddenly found the courage to tell the truth and confessed that their testimonies were false, invented under pressure from older youths and cruel pranksters. The courtroom was stunned as child after child revealed how they had been coached and even threatened to accuse innocent people. The chief troublemakers, including the notorious Gale boy and the teen girl Lisbeth Kolsdotter, who had bragged of sending anyone to the executioner, were immediately arrested for perjury. At that moment, the spell of the great noise was broken. The commission halted all witch trials on the spot. No more witches would be executed in Stockholm. The judges turned their wrath on the real deceivers, the lying witnesses. As the prison door swung open, a court messenger rushed to Margereta's cell with the news. Her execution was cancelled. Dufvans' Margereta and her fellow condemned, Karin Amjordsdotter, were pardoned and set free. After 5 harrowing months of accusations and agony, Margereta stumbled out of prison alive, blinking in the autumn sunlight. The nightmare had ended just in time. In the days that followed, Stockholm struggled to return to its senses. All the remaining witch suspects, including Margereta Remmer, and even the infamous Agnes Johansdotter, were released and cleared of charges. The authorities publicly acknowledged that the witch panic had been built on lies and delusion. Dufvans' Margereta herself, upon learning that the child witnesses had been discredited, asserted what she had maintained all along. She had never been to Blacula, and every devilish thing in her confession was simply repeating the wild stories she had heard from others. You can only imagine her relief mingled with grief. For 8 innocent people had been executed, in the Caterina witch trials before the truth emerged. Margereta had come within days of being the ninth. The witch frenzy in Sweden officially came to an end in late 1676, largely because of the unravelling that her case helped trigger. In 1677, the government even mandated a special church service of thanksgiving that the devil's witches had been banished forever from the kingdom. But for Margereta and others who survived the trials, the scars, both physical and emotional, would never fully heal. Today, the story of Dufvans Margereta is a reminder to the power of fear and falsehood. Her ordeal marked the final chapter of Sweden's great witch hunt, bringing that season of madness to a close. An innocent life nearly destroyed by collective delusion. In the end, Margereta's refusal to willingly lie about herself and the absurdity of her coerced confession helped expose the witch panic for what it was. Her case forced authorities to confront how easily children's nightmares have been taken for reality. It reminds us that even the most devout community can be led astray by hysteria, turning on its own in desperate attempt to root out an imagined evil. There is a chilling poignancy in Margereta's plaintive words to the court. I only remember what others make me remember. If no one had testified against me, I would not have confessed. Those words, recorded over 3 centuries ago, echo to us now as a warning. They speak to the tragic fragility of truth when fear reigns. Dufvans Margereta walked away from the witch trials with her life, but countless others in Sweden and beyond did not. The ghosts of those victims linger in the historical record, a reminder of how easily justice can be perverted by superstition. The legacy of Margereta's case is a cautiously hopeful one. It proved that even at the height of panic, reason and justice can reassert themselves, albeit after terrible cost. In Stockholm's Katarina churchyard today, no marker bears Dufvans Margereta's name, yet her story survives. A quietly eerie tale of innocence nearly consumed by darkness, and of a community that had to face the demons of its own making.
A PSA from Instacart. It's Sunday, 5 p.m. You had a non-stop weekend. You're running on empty, and so is your fridge. You're in the trenches of the Sunday scaries. You don't have it in you to go to the store, but this is your reminder. You don't have to. You can get everything you need delivered through Instacart so that you can get what you really need. More time to do whatever you want. Instacart. For one less Sunday scary, we're here.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
I've noticed, actually, a lot of parallels from the witch trials to today. Do you understand what I'm saying by that? Because I am getting a little bit political now. But there is so much hatred and so much vitriol out there, everywhere, that it just seems like we're repeating history, and it would not surprise...
The army.
Yeah,
We've been repeating history for decades.
Yeah, and it really wouldn't surprise me if we started lynching people and saying that they were witches again. It's just shocking to me. But you can just see it, the fury in people at the moment. And that is really scary because that breeds things like this.
Yeah.
And this,
the government are going to come take you because you're a witch.
they're taking people for all sorts. I'm just like, I've got to stay off Twitter. X. Because it's terrifying. Terrifying. That sounded to me like it was all spawned from jealousy because she must have been beneath the bloke who bought her the silk dress. And that was it. She's a witch.
Maybe he wanted her to be seen like that.
Well, could be, but I did wonder where was he when all this was happening.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, okay, I bet he backed off completely. Like, oh, I don't know. Yes, she put a spell on me.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed and we'll catch up with you again soon.
We will indeed. I'll catch up with you again tomorrow if you're tuning in for Obscurata. And then we have the Reddit episode on Wednesday, Obscurata on Thursday, along with the extra. We've got another witchy story then. And then, I've lost count now. And then we're back again on Sunday. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
How can I help you today?
Hey, I need to talk about my loan.
No problem.
So I got the email. Sandy Spring Bank is becoming...
Atlantic Union Bank. That's right.
And will you still be...
Your banker? Of course.
More branches and ATMs?
Way more.
Still community-driven?
Still live here, still give here.
Mobile app?
Easy. Everything right at your fingertips.
And what about my business?
Always here to help you reach your goals.
Sandy Spring Bank is becoming Atlantic Union Bank, October 2025. Same bankers you love with even more to offer.
With Plan B emergency contraception, we're in control of our future. It's backup birth control you take after unprotected sex that helps prevent pregnancy before it starts. It works by temporarily delaying ovulation, and it won't impact your future fertility. Plan B is available in all 50 U.S. states at all major retailers near you, with no ID, prescription, or age requirement needed. Together, we got this. Follow Plan B on Insta at Plan B One Step to learn more. Use as directed.